Hey, welcome to the newest episode of the Articulate Ox podcast. I am your host, Soma79. Thank you so much for joining me today. My guest today is producer Kount Fif. He is one of the big wigs over at Man Bites Dog Records, and he's got a new album coming out, Ascension, which I happen to do a little bit of the design work for, a little bit of the layout. His dude is dope. He's worked with everybody. He's worked with Sean Price. He's worked with dudes from Wu-Tang. He's worked with Helter Skelter, Nas, Action Bronson, Royce the 5'9". Who hasn't this dude worked with? Copywrite, our mutual friend, of course. So yeah, check out this. He's got the new album Ascension coming out. He's got another LP that I showed during the episode called The Android's Dream of Electronic Sheep, I believe. That's what it's called. It's got a lot. It's a kind of a greatest hits. Got a lot of his bigger collaborations on it. Now he's kind of taking things in a different direction. I cannot wait to hear this new record. And he's just a really cool guy. He's got some great stories. He's been around hip hop for a long time. And yeah, so check out the episode with Kount Fif. Check out Man Bites Dog Record. While you're checking things out, check out my record, soma79.bandcamp.com. Pick up Quiet Life, Loud Friends by the extra loud expanded edition by Pillsy Beats and Soma79, featuring the entire EP, plus the bonus track, plus remixes of the whole EP, plus remixes of the bonus track, plus 2 or 3 bonus tracks with copyright on it and myself, Honest the Grease God, is a total of 16 tracks. This thing is a beast. I did all the art in the inside, outside, every which way. You're gonna love it. Go to my Bandcamp, get the CD while they last, download the whole album there. While that lasts, that'll hopefully last forever. We'll see. So yeah, check all that stuff out. Check out everything Kount Fif has going on. Check out Man Bites Dog Records. Check all of it out. Pick up the new Copyright album, The Last Supper. I did all the art for that. So yeah, we're doing it all here. Check it out. Peace. Hey, welcome to the newest episode of the Articulate Ox podcast. I am your host, Soma79. Thank you so much for joining me. My guest today is the man behind this album and others, Kount Fif, producer out of, where are you out of? I thought you were out of Ohio, but I guess I was wrong.
Oh, man, I'm in Northern Virginia, right out of DC.
Yes.
The DMV is what we call the DMV, but I'm a little bit more in the country. I'm a little further west, but I'm still close to everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what I'm out in Western Mass. Very similar. I'm in the country, but close to stuff too. Yeah.
You're close to Beantown?
I went to BU years ago, and I've been slowly moving my way further out, and now I live right by UMass Amherst, so I can practically see it from my house.
Nice.
So I live in a small town. So
nice. That's what's up.
But this record's dope. I picked this up a while back. On this record, we got guests from Helter Skelter, Killer Priest, Nasty Nas, Action Bronson, everybody. Cannabis, Copyright, You Got some Wu-Tang in here. Royce the 5'9", man. Great record. We'll talk about this in a little bit. I'm a big Philip K. Dick fan, so this got me right here.
My man.
Yeah. So how you doing today, man?
I'm living, man. I can't complain, man. You know, it's good.
Oh, perfect. You have a new album coming out. I forgot because I helped you a little bit with it.
This is perfect timing because I've got the new release of the new album coming. The album is called Ascension. It's basically the follow-up to my Numero Un album, which is the first album I've actually got. Hold on. This album right here.
Yeah.
So if you don't have it, pick that up. This album's incredible. There's not a lot of big super names on it. Like, you know, there's 9 copyrights on it. You know, I do some singing on it. It's pretty dope. My man Impulse is on it. Merkaba, J Royale's on it. Born Unique, Fatboy Sharif, Hooks Arthur, my man Jimmy the Grunt. So, but it's a dope, very dope, solid album, man. And my man did the artwork. Scene. He's an incredible artist. He's done a lot of stuff for like the Jay Dilla Foundation and stuff like that. He lives in Georgia, but he used to be, because I think his wife's in the military, so he's running around the planet. But yeah, man, he used to be from the city, but yeah, man, I think he's in GA. He's an incredible artist. So yeah.
That's dope,
so this is the follow-up, Ascension, and it's exciting, man. You know, Chino XL's on it. I got some returning guests. You know, me and Copy have so much work, man. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Pause 1 second, man.
It's all good, man.
There we go. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
Popular man.
Uh,
You need to get that. It's all good. I can always cut this out.
yeah, that's cool. I don't know where it's going from now. Okay. Sorry about that.
Hey, no worries, man. Yes, Copywrite. Yeah, I got a bunch of tracks with him that I haven't seen the light of day yet. That dude is an absolute beast still to this day.
He's an anomaly, man. Like, I
He's
mean,
he's one of one from my
he's a thin one.
experiences
He's
with him.
absolutely. You know,
Yeah.
and I've had a lot of experience hanging out with him personally. He used to live in VA for a little bit around the way, and he used to come to the studio all the time. Um, okay, so yeah, we had, you know, I've seen a lot of things happen with him, man. Like, just
That dude seems
Weird
like
story.
a weekend is like 10 years for somebody else is like one weekend.
Oh my God! Well, he used to come by for particular reasons I won't say.
Yeah, yeah.
But I lived with somebody, and he used to come through a lot. But you know, besides the studio, we used to record a lot, man. He'd do a lot of his feature verses at my studio, because he lived literally like 2 miles down the road from me,
Yeah, yeah.
in Virginia, and uh, he he went through a lot, man, when he was there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of things that, you know, but I
Yeah,
tell you,
we don't want to give away too much of his business.
no, but I'll tell you a funny story though. One
Yeah.
time, man, we were out hanging out with this dude that he knew, that I guess he met from around, you know, the DMV area. I guess we were in Arlington, which is close to DC, and it's like a real cool area for clubs and stuff like that. Like, it's a cool area. We all went out and just hit, like, bar hopped or whatever. So we go. So we're pretty, you know, the night's going on for a little bit. We get the dude wants to go to his ex-girlfriend's house, right? And we go to his ex-girlfriend's house. They go inside. Copy said he had to use the bathroom. So he goes inside, blah, blah, blah. We waste some time, and we don't get anything out of it. So we leave. We go on our way. Copy then tells us that he pissed in the girls' shampoo bottles.
That sounds about right.
That was a fun night, man.
Yeah, that dude. Yeah,
Pete's a wild dude, man.
he is.
Free copyright, man. You know?
Yeah. His new album's out, The Last Supper. I did actually the cover art
Right.
for that.
Yes, you did, man. You did an incredible job. That's why I actually, you know, commissioned you to do
Oh yeah,
the layout and stuff in the back for you know, for
Yeah.
my record, man.
Anytime, man.
So yeah, you prop yourself, you know, plug yourself with that one, man. You know, he did the layout, and the, you know, the font and all that for the new
Oh yeah,
album.
yeah. I'm dying to hear that. I haven't got a chance to listen to it yet. I think they're sending me a copy of it. But
Yeah.
what was your sort of? And you said it was a sequel to the other one to some degree. What was your sort of goal going in this, and what could people expect from it?
I think you can just expect a really, again, kind of just what I've been doing. If you've been paying attention, it's like, um, just consistent and a solid piece of work. Like, you can, I feel like my albums are playthroughs. You can't, there's no skippers, no filler stuff. Everything has content. Everything has a meaning or a concept to some degree. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
if not, it's just pure hip hop shit. You know, it's just a compilation record with a producer working with different artists. So you're gonna expect uh, different styles of music. You know what I mean? All intertwined in one complete whole project. So I think it's gonna be dope. You know, it's again, hard hitting drums, soul stuff. Um, you know, rock stuff, guitars, everything. You know, it's a little mixture of everything. You know, one thing I do regret is not using enough female artists. I do want to work with more like singers
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But I've got a lot of new stuff coming out. We'll talk about.
You know what's interesting too, because I make a conscious effort to try to do this. Well, I listen to a lot of female artists. I find that I have to hit up probably 10 female artists out of for every one male artist I have to hit up to get a response. And I'm
Yeah,
sure there's a lot of reasons, a lot of good reasons for that. I mean, not good reasons as in like I'm a jerk, but like the defensiveness, the speculation and stuff. And it's like so it becomes a little tough, though. I do have somebody that I'm hoping to talk to about a new record soon that I'm excited about. But
yeah.
um, let me ask you this. So this is one thing that I've done. I've had lucky to collaborate with people like Ras Kass, Cool Keith, Elza, like some dudes like that. And I find that it's always a different experience when you're dealing with these different personalities. And whereas some of them, it's like, yo, I'll have it to you in 2 days, and it's like 3 months later, you're like checking your email. And other ones, it's like they treat it like a real job. And sometimes I'll have experiences where I'll say, hey, whatever you do on the hook, just please include these 3 words, and those 3 words are nowhere in it. So
Yeah,
like, do you
yeah.
find that like what's your attitude now going into work with a new rapper? Is it always something like you're expecting it kind of a crapshoot? It could be anything, or do you talk to people that work with them, or like how do you deal with sort of the quirky personalities of the copyrights and the others of the world?
I'm one that wants to. I don't want to ex, ex, spend a lot of money on just getting features all over the record, whatnot. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like I think it's good as a producer. Obviously, I mean, I want to lean more towards working with like just one person for the whole record. And that's what I've done in the past. I did with Killer Priest. I did a lot with Vast Air's record, Guilty Simpson.
Yeah.
you know, so there's a lot of different angles to come at with that, but like I think that um, working with some of these legacy artists, man, is not the route that I want to go. I think I've worked with, I mean, you know, I have a good credential, like accolades as far as working with underground legends and people that I respect and makes that I always admired and was inspired by. So um, I'm moving on to different pastures soon. You know what I mean? So like I'm trying to expand my sound. I'm trying to do different things, make more approachable music, make more modern music. Not like I've paid my dues, man. So I'm ready to start doing some different stuff. But this new album, man, is dope. It's a collective of some older production. It's collectives of some new production. There's some correlations. There's some dope messages. It's very spiritual. It's very like it's kind of on the journey I've been. Like Numero Un was, like you see the album cover. It was very artsy and uh,
Eddie.
yeah, it was like yeah, heady exactly. Parliament Funkadelic and Bitches Brew, Miles Davis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's that's the shit that I'm on. You know what I mean? So it's it's love. I just feel like every project has a solid sound and it's still diversity because I've never really been one to be tied down to a certain style or like a certain sound, like a DJ Premier, or like when you hear a
Yeah.
Premier or
It's
Pete
him.
Rock bass line or a Dilla Time type of Jay Dilla beat. I do a lot of different types of stuff for the mood and the different things. My bigger influence is more like Prince Paul. So, like where you just, kind of fit the mold as a producer and kind of do anything and have
Yeah.
like really special things that they do. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. It's like they pop up. A guy do like him pops up anywhere. I saw
mhm.
him once spin at what was ostensibly a rave at Wesley College, which is the
Wow.
all women's college in Wellesley, Mass.
Nice.
And I remember it was on my birthday, and I remember
Yeah.
I'll reveal this story. So we had some capsules of something, and my friend and we had them in this little tin that would hold like tea bags or something. And my friend was
Right.
holding them like this and kind of shaking them in his hand. When we got there and opened it, it was all like gone. I remember it was my birthday too. But I remember that was a night that well just that somebody coined the phrase floor pills and everything turned up okay.
Oh wow.
So survived that one.
Oh yeah, I know all about those kind of stories,
Yeah,
man.
but Prince Paul was there that night, and I remember how strange it was that I was just like, "This is a really weird place for Prince Paul to be." And
Yeah,
he was
for
there
real.
to
Like
come.
he like snuck in that gig somehow. I don't know,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
I don't know
I think there is weird too because I remember I mentioned I went to BU. Like I remember 7L and Esoteric once played a show there in the BU basement, and it was literally like it was a room like smaller than my office, and but there on the stage we were right there. There was like 8 people there, and it was like Eso would
yeah,
just walk off the stage and be standing there, and just like it was one of those shows where college just pays to like bring the act in but
really
doesn't
nice. Yeah,
publicize it. You know?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I saw CeeLo at James Madison University, JMU, which is like a big school in
Yep.
Virginia. So yeah, I saw CeeLo there, and they it was kind of that same kind of deal.
I
They had
saw I saw Beck at a corporate event a few years ago. And it was a big Adobe event, and the first song he played was "Loser," and like
oh,
maybe like 20% of the people sang along. And
right.
I could tell, oh, he's like playing this to test the audience to see if they
Yep,
know his music. And then he
yep.
didn't play a song I recognized for the rest of the night. He played like some crazy covers. I forget what they were, but like I was like, yep, that's what he's doing. It was a fun show, but like if you were a Beck fan, I don't if you wanted to hear the hits, you weren't going to.
Oh yeah, well yeah, you can't. He's an art. He's an eclectic guy. He's not going to do the same show every show. He's going to do. You're
Yeah,
not going to. He's kind of unpredictable, honestly, when it comes to performances. I've heard this for a long time. Read
yeah.
about this, seen this in the past. You know, he uh, he tends to not do the same shit like at any given moment. And that's funny that like and that's smart too. At the same time that he would test and do like loser
Yeah.
first. It's like okay, you guys know this first of all.
Yeah. He's like,
If you don't know who
if
I
you don't
am,
know that one, if you don't know
right?
Loser, you're not
Well,
gonna know Beck.
yeah, facts.
God, I
Yeah,
remember when that record came out, I was like at like Strawberries, which is like our local like CD place, and it was like came out and they did the super sale and the new things to push them, and I was like, whatever this is, I'm interested. And that was like
right.
one that I was like 2 months ahead of everybody else on. I'm like, you gotta check this shit out, and they're like, stop putting that CD in my face. That and Crisscross were two that I was like,
It's
because
strong.
I saw Crisscross on that show that D Barnes used to host, Pump It Up, I think, and I was like,
Yeah,
Crisscross. I remember calling the road radio saying, "We play the Crisscross song." They're like, we don't know what you're talking about. And then like a week later, it was like, jump, jump.
yeah, that's funny, bro.
No.
Hey, I was a fan. I was a fan of Chris Cross.
Hey, I threw one of those records on not long ago, and it's like they're on beat. Like the rhymes aren't terrible. It's like there's a lot worse shit out there. Like,
Oh, for kids rapping, I mean,
uh,
especially. I mean, they were going hard. And Jermaine Dupri did his thing, man. Like, you know, obviously
yeah.
producing for him. You know, he's always been. You know, Jermaine is underrated as a producer. He's just a weird dude.
Yeah, yeah. And they weren't rappers first. It's not like he found rappers. He found two kids at the mall that looked like rappers and turned them into
Right.
rappers, you know?
Yeah, he coached them out. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
taught them how to rhyme on beat, follow the ones and the twos. You know, that's all you need to know. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. I
there's
do
moves.
remember though, you know what's funny is like you're a good person to ask with this. When I was a kid, so my first cassettes were the same ones probably every white kid around our age had, which was like Beastie Boys, License to Ill, and like Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. And like I remember like, I don't think I knew what a 4/4 beat was until like maybe like 15 years later. Like I never
Yeah.
really thought of it that way, and I never
Right.
really understood how these were made. Like there was no one there to explain to me like pause tapes and stuff like this. Like, was it a mystery for you when you first started listening to hip hop how this was all made? Because I understood a
Um,
guitar, but like I didn't really understand how it came
well,
together.
you know, I remember finding out about samples pretty early on, like hearing, you know what I mean, like recognizing, like let's say like Walk This Way, Run DMC,
Yeah.
obviously is a sample and a redo of Aerosmith song Walk This Way. So, um, like I noticed stuff like that. You know, there would be things that I would notice, and I think once I started getting, because my father was a musician, so my brother-in-law was a musician. He had synthesizers around, um, and I started just understanding how, like, even like Dr. Dre, like stuff I would hear. You know, it's like it's just different artists that I would hear. Period. That would have like a sample that I would know if it was from something that my mom or my grandma would listen to or something. And um, that really, you know, it made me curious on how it was done. And I remember finally figuring out how learning about sample, like in high school, I learned about the MPC 2000. My boy had one, and that's kind of I had like this DJX keyboard. It had a sampler on it, but it was only like 10 seconds. So
Yeah.
it was kind of like a SA, like a ASR, like a sub SP or something, very limited sample time. So I had to like be creative with making the beats with that thing, but it was still dope. Like everything built in the thing was dope. It was like made for hip hop, and shit wasn't cheesy. Like the Yamaha sounds were actually pretty solid, the patches. So yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of where it really hit. You know what I mean? And especially because I started writing raps and shit in like ninth grade. That's when I really got, because I started really as a rapper, as a I wrote raps. Then I got into I was a drummer when I was really young. So I took like I marched in the Patriots and I played drums and shit for a long time. Naturally, just good at that. So, and I feel like a lot of producers kind of like were on that. Like if you had to kind of know how to play the drums, and then
Yeah.
finger drumming was like that much easier. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not using your legs and shit, the kicks and
Yeah.
the hi hats, which is difficult to use all four limbs and then have them all doing different shit at one time.
It really is. It's
So,
like it's for me. It's one of those things like I can play drums like a little, but it's like
right?
when I go skiing that once I get going, I go, oh my God, I'm going. It's going well, and then that's when
Yeah.
I fall. It's like that just takes time to like work through that mentally. It takes
Muscle
reps.
memory, man. Muscle memory,
Yeah.
exactly. You just gotta practice. You gotta stay on it.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, I just had a natural knack for the beat. Like that was what I always noticed first was the drums. Like shit like In the Air Tonight, Phil Collins, those big
Yes.
drums, and the sound of just humongous drums. I remember as a kid just how being mesmerized how the sound of those, the mix. Like I didn't even know what that was at the time, how you didn't know that the songs were mixed. You just thought that was
Right.
you know what I mean, like a
Yeah.
drum kit or
You
like
thought he was using a drum the size of a room and beating it
you
with like, yeah.
you didn't know. You were just, thinking, hey,
Yeah.
he just has this drum sound just sounds dope. Doesn't know where, doesn't matter where it's coming from, or how he did
Yeah.
it. And then you get older and you realize you're like, damn, like they mixed these drums really well back then. They were punchy and
Yeah.
big and epic, and
On tape, most likely. With
yeah,
tape
oh, I'm
alone.
sure.
Yeah.
Analog for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
again, man, it'll never compare to digital. Digital, as far as like I meant, like digital will never compare to
Oh
analog.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All the
Um,
plugins in the world don't really get it right.
it's machinery, it's energy. Like Prince said that shit. Like the studio, like with hardware that you're running through these motherboards with tubes and electrical pieces. It changes and alters the sound anytime you're running through a piece of equipment versus being plugins on a software. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they're strong, they're powerful. Trust me. I'm not hating on plugins. I use plugins every day.
Right.
But like, I mean, obviously, and I have another studio with the Man Bites Dog Studio. We have some preamps and some hardware stuff over there that I like to use when we
I
can.
mean, because too, like even the chord you use affects the sound of a keyboard going into it, whether it's
Oh
in
yeah,
all the way, whether it's a new chord or an old. There's so many little things that can impact the sound. Like, and I'm
the
sure
quality.
you've like me spent like an hours trying to get a little hum out of like Pro Tools or something that you can't
Oh
figure out
yeah.
where it's coming from. It's like,
Yeah, bad chords, man. I mean, quality
yeah,
chords are super
makes a
important.
big difference.
Well, it's like you get Megami, they're expensive, but they're worth it. Like you want to record in through solid cable. Otherwise, it's. I mean, that's your patch. So if your patch is no good, which doesn't
Right.
matter what you got, right?
Yep.
You're running through a weak patch. It's going to. You're gonna lose something.
Right. And all it's like you want like the most, yeah, you're gonna modify most of this stuff digitally to some degree after, but you still want the best sound going in. Like you still want the
Absolutely.
highest quality recording, or like you're always trying to like play catch up.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the less you got to do in post. I mean, that's kind of what they taught us when I went to school for engineering and stuff. They taught us to do everything before you get to post. That way, you don't have to do anything. A lot of engineers didn't mix by the fader; they mixed by their their
Yeah.
patch. Their chain. Their mixing chain or whatever. They there's there's different ways, and obviously, I mean, I do a little bit of both. Obviously, I still do fader mixing,
Mhm.
but it's just different techniques, man. That's it.
When you went to school, were they still teaching analog or were they teaching digital?
Oh yeah,
I
oh
went to
yeah.
BU for film school. It was the last class that had to cut and scotch tape film together. The
Oh
next
yeah,
year they
yeah.
brought in the
Splice tape.
Avids.
Yeah, I had to splice tape. We worked on the Studer,
Yeah.
8 tracks, and we worked on SSLs and Amex, which were the Yamaha version. It's the one that Shaq walked in and spilled a Pepsi on it and had to buy
Shaq.
it. Yeah, Shaq, because it's in Orlando, so the
He
school
can
I
do
went.
whatever he wants in Orlando, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, yeah. And there's a lot of people have recorded in that on those boards. Michael Jackson, they recorded a lot in some of those. The studios were really nice and Full Sail, man. They were dope.
Yeah.
So I got
Oh, you went to Full Sail?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's dope. Hear so much about that, and I know I'm a big wrestling fan, and WWE had a long relationship with Full Sail for years, so I always heard
yeah.
about them, and I always heard really good things that, people got really. That's one of those things I'm like, oh, I wish that was kind of around. It's
It's expensive school, man. I got in early before they really hit them like the bit like they made it more expensive, and I graduated in '03. So it's
oh
been
that
a
yeah, that's yeah. I don't think I'd heard of them around then.
yeah, it's been a long time, man. So like I found out about them because I wanted to go to music school. I didn't want to waste anything else. I was just like, this is what I'm born to do. So
Yeah,
like this is what I'm gonna do. And my nephew actually went down there with me, and he was in audio engineering too. But like I knew other people that came down that just because of me telling them about it, or just word got around about it, and brought a bunch of people down there eventually to try to go to school. Some
yeah,
people made it, some people didn't. It was tough because it was intense learning. You're learning like one class is 4 hours, and you have labs later in the day.
yeah.
Whatever time it is for another 4 hours, you're in school 8 hours a day. You had to get loans and shit for like to rent apartments. You couldn't. There was no dorms yet. It was very. And my partner with the label, Ryan, he went there in 2000 for film, and it was even worse. Like for him, it was like lab rat shit. Like just
Yeah.
testing shit out, man.
Yeah, because that's when I graduated college in 2000. So like that would I was like the last year. So it was like that
Yeah.
was yeah, they were probably still teaching, cutting stuff up.
Oh yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
We
because you said you were doing 2003. Yeah.
yeah. We had
Yeah.
to splice tape. We had to learn all the analog ways of doing everything. How to do mic techniques, 90 degrees.
That stuff's great to have learned, but in the moment when you make a mistake that like is literally a control Z now, but back
Yeah.
then is a $100 or $2,000 mistake or $500
Oh
mistake that
right.
you don't even know about for 3 weeks. It's tough. It's tough being 19 and trying to do shit like that.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
I'm. You think this industry is nerve wracking, especially with like the creative side of it, like having to worry about shit like that. That's
Yeah.
indefinite.
I always want whenever I'm watching, I think it was whatever that Norm Macdonald and Danny DeVito and Norm Macdonald and Dave Chappelle movie, Screwed, I think it was, that came out in the 90s.
Okay.
That came on cable the other day, and I was like, they shot this friggin' movie on film. And it's just crazy to think now they don't shoot anything on film, but back then they're like, oh yeah, this is worth the money. Cause like it's like I'm just like, this looks beautiful, and it's such a pretty much garbage movie, no offense,
Yeah,
but
yeah. It's not like it's like why would you waste such good
yeah.
film on a movie? This yeah.
I watched The Pallbearer too, the one with Ross Geller and Gwyneth Paltrow. That's a movie that I'm not recommending anyone go back. I'm like, this is all shot on film. It's just the good old days. And I remember all my film professors then were they were the dinosaurs of the era. One of them was the guy who wrote the Slaughterhouse-Five movie, and like he hung out with like Fellini and stuff. And I love all that stuff, but he was just really decrying, like complaining about digital being the next thing. And I'm like, what are you gonna do? Like, we're basically monkeys. It's a miracle that we created this shit. Just roll with it, buddy. Like,
Yeah, for real.
but whatever.
For real.
Um, so Man Bites Dog, let's talk a little bit about that. I know I found you guys, I've been a fan of Copy for a long time. I know he's been on the label for a while. And then, I've got to work with you guys a little bit different stuff. But what's the history of that label and your involvement with it?
So, we were both from the same area. I was living in Manassas, I believe, at the time, and Man Bites Dog was basically based out of Woodbridge, Virginia, and uh, we started seeing some flyers pop up where they had like my man, the promoter, who I'll tell you about in a second, was flyering like George Mason University. My best friend was attending, went to George Mason. So he picked up a flyer off of the parking lot. It was like a Capadonna show in Fairfax, Virginia. We're like, whoa, it's a big county. It's actually one of the most, like Loudoun County, Virginia, Fairfax County, are two of the richest counties. I think Loudoun is actually number one, even beyond San Francisco.
Kappa will show up anywhere. That dude's always in the randomest
Cap's
spots.
wild, man. I've met Cap so many times before I actually knew him and worked with him, and now, like, he knows me anytime I hit him up.
Yeah.
But like,
I want to work with him. He's going to do. I always want to hit up, and I just
he's
never
a
done it yet.
wild dude, man.
That's
He's a wild.
that's what
I
I
got
hear.
stories upon stories with that dude, man. It's
Yeah.
crazy. But he's dope. He's got me into a lot of cool situations, hanging out on the tour bus with RZA and hanging out, just chilling with all these guys. You guys already knew who I was because we had worked with him in the past. And
I just read You God's memoir. Great book if you haven't read it. For anybody who
oh,
hasn't read it.
really?
Excellent
Yeah, Ghost
book,
just dropped a book too. I see. So.
Oh, I read the Rick Warren one. Thanks to mine. I got to pick up the Ghost.
Yeah,
I'll
Rick
read
Warren
many of those they put
pretty
out.
good. I've read some of that one. I gotta catch up. Because I've read all the Dao Wu and.
Yeah, I'm supposed to have the guy on who wrote the book about the album, the Once Upon a Time in Shaolin.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Oh,
I talked to
Silver
him.
Wings joint.
Yeah. I had talked to him about the guy who wrote the book on that. He was involved in the process of it, but then in the middle, he's like, they want to shoot this documentary, so I can't do it until the documentary's coming out because he didn't want to give everything away on my enormous platform. So I'm like, I understand, but he's going to be on eventually, so he can give some insight into that. So,
Right.
But we just tried to do something similar to that, and it wasn't really my idea. I'm just saying we, but like, I'm a producer on this project called Planet Orson, and we got Esoteric to, by we I mean this other dude, Jared Eagle, whose this whole project is, made a record. There's only 30 copies of an Esoteric recorded music exclusive to this about Orson Welles and the Transformers. It's pretty dope, actually.
That's probably gonna be pretty dope. Yeah,
I got it right here actually. I think I have it right here.
I did some of the mixing work on the Esoteric and Stu Banger's record.
There it is. Oh, I love that. Machete music, is that it?
Machete mode, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope, man.
Yeah.
I like the album cover. That's so.
Yeah. I forget to do the art of this, but it's nasty. I'm thinking about getting a tattoo of this guy. This is Orson, because Orson Welles was his last film was a voice in the Transformers movie back in the day. So this dude Jared's making this potentially stop motion animation, but definitely a graphic novel about the story of Orson Welles told through the lens of the Transformers, and he has a deep personal connection to it, and he got Esoteric involved because their first song sampled the Transformers. So yeah, we were down meeting with him with Esso a couple months ago and just talking about it. And that dude's like about as nice as nice gets. Like he's
a nice dude, man.
Yeah.
He was
that Machete Mode CD was in the back seat of my car for probably 10 years. It was like that and like two others were the ones that were always there.
Yeah.
So in terms of Man Bites Dog, I mean, what are you looking to do with it next?
So I mean, I'm gonna continue to do my thing, man, as far as like hip hop and stuff goes. But I am trying to move in a different direction. Doing a lot of different things, and it's not like it's not so far out the genre. You know what I mean? It's just more like R&B and more soul and blues and I want to do some different stuff, man. So I mean, I think I've achieved a lot with the hip hop shit. I've got a lot of worked with some legends. I'm good, man. Like like trying to put together compilation albums and maybe a third one that I'll eventually put out, man. But I might just chill after this one for a little bit and work on some other stuff, some different projects, and it won't be as like a Kount Fif album. You know what I mean? It'll just be more or less like stuff that I'm working on, collaborating with some other artists and doing some things. So
Yeah, we just did 2 songs together. Thank you very much for those.
yes, you did too, man. Oh yeah, I was gonna mention that too, man. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, this shit's a dope, man.
Yeah, I was
Very,
really happy with those. Like,
yeah,
those came out like mad fast, and I
yeah,
just did them in like in 2 days, and I was like, oh, these were easy. Those beats, the drums on the second one, which I think was yes, they actually have the audacity or something like that. The drums
yeah.
on that, I was like, where have these drums been my whole friggin' life? Like I was loving it.
Again, I'm a drummer, man. I got an ear for the drums, man. You know, I like,
Yeah,
I love to. I gotta have hard hitting drums. I've always been said that.
I can't.
Sorry, man.
That's all right. I can't
So
remember the name of the other song, even though I wrote it like 2 weeks ago. But I
yeah,
do you have that like so what happens to me when I come up with a new song is like I get it and then I just listen to the crap out of it until I write the next one and then
yeah,
the other ones like might as well to some degree until it gets released it might as well not even exist. Like
yeah.
it's almost like I feel like the way that like if you're a tourer if you're touring you got to forget Denver because you're on your way to Austin then you're on your way to Dallas you can't hang
Yeah,
on
you
to
gotta
it too
move.
long.
You can't. Yeah, you can't like. Yeah, you know you got to be prepared that you're going to be moving, so your mindset is a little different. You can't get too attached to each city you're in. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Can't do
yeah.
as much. You got to really, you know what I mean? You got to keep it on the move. So yeah, I've traveled a lot. I travel a lot, so you know, for work and for business and stuff like that. So you know, I get that. You know, wanting to latch on to a place and then you got to move around to the next.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
Business travel, I had to do a lot of that earlier in my career. It's one of those things that is just like it sounds great until you actually go to do it. And then
yeah.
it's just like, oh my God, I gotta do
Yeah, and then
what?
you're out there and you're like, oh. I mean, I've had some pretty fortunate, you know, instances. You know, I mean, they sent me to Vegas for the first of the year. So that's fun.
Yeah. So let me see. I'm just resetting this a little bit. Oh, this is what I meant to ask you. Your dad, what was his instrument?
Bass.
Oh, really? And
Yep.
what was his genre?
Country, Western blues. Yeah. So he worked with an artist named like Big Al Downing. He had a band that was a local band in the Fairfax area named Heavy Country, and they won all kinds of contests and they were very popular local. The main lead singer was part of a group with his brother.
They covers or originals?
Originals, and they did covers too.
Yeah. A country, I guess, yeah, there's always a few covers in there.
Yeah, yeah, but they were really tight, man. Their band was, I mean, it was like it was a large band. It was 6 to 9 members sometimes. You know, you'd have steel guitar, two guitar players,
What type
drummer.
of bass was he playing? Like an electric or?
Yeah, he played electric. You know, he started off originally playing stand-up bass,
Oh
and
man, I've
then
always wanted to play one of those.
him and my grandfather, his dad, they used to go to parties and play and play for at parties for people, and my dad would rocking the stand-up. My granddad would be on the guitar singing. So
Everybody looks cool playing a stand-up bass because I remember wanting to do it because
yeah.
I saw the Beastie Boy
Uh,
playing it on the stand-up
Adam,
bass.
Adam Yount, yeah,
Yeah,
man.
Adam. Yeah, I
MCA,
was forgetting which one was the
yeah,
bassist. Yeah.
yeah, he plays the bass, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, he used to have that duck curl shit too, like the old 50s style like hairdo.
Yeah.
And he had that bass. He got pictured with him, but I have a picture of him like that. So yeah, it was dope. But then he played bass. He could also play drums. He could also play guitar, and he could sing, and he wrote music too. So
Where'd
he
he
was
learn?
what's that?
How did he learn?
By ear, just
Wow.
gifted, just like me. I was just born with it, man. Like he
Really?
must have passed it on. It's from a higher power, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? So it's just natural born for this music. Like literally, it just was in my blood. And I learned how to play drums at 5 years old. We had a drum set. We had a garage outside, and I just knew what I heard, man. And I learned music the same way. Like as I'm getting older, and I took in school. I went to Full Sail. We learned a little bit about music theory, and I've I've learned a little bit along the way. But it's like math. You got to practice. You got to stay on it. You know what I mean? But I just go by ear, man. You know.
Yeah. I had a drummer on Eric Eagle a few episodes ago. Actually, his cousin's the dude who did the thing I talked about before, the Planet Orson thing. But this dude, he's an incredible drummer. He's a drum teacher. I think he was
No,
teaching at like Berkeley and stuff before. He
incredible.
toured with the Allman Brothers and was signed to their label and told the
Oh
story
wow.
about Dickie Betts. Like he went to fill in on a song with the Allman Brothers and his arm was busted, so he was playing one-handed, and then Dickie Betts turned around and saw him and thought he was showboating and like trying to show him up. And then because he wasn't even supposed to be out there, someone else threw him in. And then the back
Oh
Dickie
wow.
Betts was pissed and came at him. So
Oh, shit.
R.I.P. to Dickie Betts just passed away.
Yeah, man. That
No.
sucks.
So what were your was that type of music a big influence on you? Because I mean, it's or like you mentioned before,
Everything. So
Parliament,
country when I was really young. Then when my dad passed, that kind of changed because I didn't have that influence around as much. I mean, we still went and did things around everybody, all the friends, and whatnot. There's a big following for the band. But my dad in his later years, but when he died in California. He had a heart attack when I was 4.
I'm
So
sorry to
like
hear that.
I was young, man. Like when he
Yeah.
passed, and he was out in Cali, and he was a tour manager for a band called Atlanta, and they had like a radio single at the time. They were a 9-piece country band, and they were touring. They were incredible. They were awesome. But my dad was out there working with them. So I mean, I think that there's oh god, I kind of lost the train of thought. What was the initial question again? Because I kind of want to get back to the root of that. I know I'm trailing off.
Um.
Forgive me.
Your influences, like your early, like like your
Yes.
earliest
So
music
country
memories
store.
were. Yep.
Okay, so yeah, so when he passed, I moved on and I started listening. I got influenced by some, my mom had friends that were older kids and had like, collections of music and, cassette tape collections and vinyl collections and, you know, so I got to learn about a lot of music and a lot of different types of genres. I mean, I used to listen to like, hair metal and like
Oh yeah.
heavy metal and like I grew up on like grunge, the 90s and I was in middle school and Nirvana and the whole sub pop, with Seattle.
Oh yeah. I'm a huge
Grunge
Sonic
scene,
Youth fan.
man. Yeah, Sonic Youth,
Love
all that.
Fugazi.
Fugazi. Oh, but that's Minor Threat. That's
Yep.
that's Ian McKay. That's
I
here. That's DC. Yeah, man.
am a
Yeah, that's
pigeon.
that's DC too, man. So like that's those guys are legends in this area for
You know
that.
what's funny about them is when I was a kid, that shit to me was the hardest shit ever. When I listen to it now, it feels like they're super melodic. Like it feels like because of
Yeah,
the times have changed,
right.
I don't go to them for like but it's the same music.
Right.
It's so cool that
It's
way.
different how things, yeah, yeah, yeah. When you hear
Yeah.
things as you're younger, they grow. Like there's songs I went back to that I was like, oh, I remember listening to this song when I was a kid, and I'd be like, I don't know why. Like, why did I listen to this song?
Yeah,
That's not
yeah.
it was bad or anything, but it was just like, I wonder why I kept this song on repeat as a kid. Like,
Yeah.
what was it about?
Like what was it about Rex and Effects? Like,
Oh God.
I
Oh
remember
yeah.
like MC Brains. I used to love MC Brains when I was a kid.
Mr.
Was he was like the fifth dude in the East Coast family of like Bell Biv DeVoe. He was like a dude that like probably carried.
What about MC 9,000 Foot Jesus?
Yes, he had Spike Jones did a video for him. That dope video. Then that's all I know about him.
Right.
Then I read about him in like Spin magazine when I was a kid. I probably still have the article around here
I
somewhere.
was I was into music young man. Like I mean, my dude was bringing. We used to bring in different music every day. We'd have our CD, our Discman, you know what I'm saying, on the
Yep.
bus. So me and my homie who I'd sit next to on the bus because we actually had assigned seats on the bus because our bus was wild. It said wild
Oh,
after you.
I know why they assign seats on a bus. I
Right.
went to public high school.
Yeah. So we had to sit next to it. And I fortunately sat next to one of my dudes who lived in the next neighborhood over from me, and we had a lot of the same similarities. We were both skateboarders, because I was a skater at one point. I was into all that whole scene. Rage Against the Machine. I've seen them 3 times in concert, by the way. And they, were my favorite band for a long time. Like Wu Tang. Obviously, I saw the Wu Tang and Rage Against the Machine tour. I saw
One
them.
of the lucky ones.
Yeah, I got to see that, man. I was young too. I was like literally. I think that was the summer in between I was going into high school. was about to be a freshman, and they had a mosh pit on the lawn. You know what I mean? Like it
Oh
was,
yeah,
they
that
played.
tour was destined for disaster. That
They
was like Guns
played.
N' Roses and Metallica getting
Oh,
together.
it was an incredible line. I was like, yo, it's my favorite new hip hop group, my favorite rock group. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like combination together was a dream, was a match made in heaven. And I mean, man, Mysteries of Chess Boxing came on, and that fucking place went bananas. I
Yeah.
mean, that was just an incredible time. I mean, you know,
I got to work with Young Dirty Bastard on a song a few years ago, and I had to say he
like
was like super professional. Like
he's cool, man. We did we my record. So Man Bites Dog has a the owner, RML, myself as a co-owner, but he has and I used to manage it, and I used to help out with opening all the stores and doing all that kind of stuff. That's why we kind of, as the label, we kind of took a brief hiatus on really being consistent with music like we had been in the past years.
yeah,
Um, because we kind of started kind of like what they did with Fifth Element, like Rhyme Sayers did, with Fifth Element, where they had a
yeah.
record store. We wanted a place where people could express. We could have a stage. We had record stores. We focused on that for a while, and I it was, we used to do um, a lot of different things at the record store, but like that was also a big reason why those chain of events happen. Regardless,
It's
um,
hard because like that's one of the problems with hip hop is it's like so much. If you can have one place in your town where hip hop can happen anytime a day, in
yeah,
terms of like you can have a club where maybe you can book a show, but if there's a store in town that can actually could bring an artist in, because we had undergroundhiphop.com in Boston for a while that
yeah.
I'm trying to think
They
the
came
distance.
they came through to my studio once. I got a story about that with Acrobatic and
Yeah.
do trees from that spot from
Yeah.
before. I know my
Yeah,
man.
trees and Quest. I think Quest was the dude who ran it, and I
Yeah,
was supposed to have trees on.
that's crazy.
Yeah, and actually DJ Food Stamp I'm trying to track down too.
Nice.
I used to
Yeah,
write
yeah.
reviews for that under the name DJ Timid back then. So if anybody
Did
sees
you
me
really?
DJ Timid reviews,
Nice. Yeah, and then my
um,
man Icon bought it out. You know what I'm saying?
oh
So
yeah, what happened? Was I?
and
Yeah, what
I
happened with
did
that?
I did some small tour. I don't know, man. I don't know. I haven't followed up. I haven't seen him post nothing about it. I mean, we're friends.
Yeah.
Uh, we stay pretty. We stay in contact on social media.
I
Um,
keep thinking I gotta try to get Quest on. I remember the day that Prince Paul rave. I happened to be walking down the street in Boston on Comm Ave, and a dude pulled up in the undergroundhiphop.com. Like he had a little bug, like one of those
man,
DWs wrapped in it, and Quest got
yep,
out. And I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And I talked to him for a few minutes, and that was like me going to get the tickets to go to that show.
dope, dope, dope.
Yeah, wicked nice dude. I mean, that stuff.
Yeah,
But like having that, because I remember going to Mortal. That was a pretty small store, unfortunately, but they did ship a
right.
lot out, which was good. But
They did.
Immortal Technique came in there one day and did a signing. Like Acrobatic, you'd see him around there. I used to see him at like wrestling. I remember I was at a Raw once, and he
Oh
was
yeah, he's a
literally
big.
directly apart from me.
Yeah, football and wrestling. Those guys were really big. Big Patriots. Him and Mr. Lift.
Yes, I was at a show in the Troubadour, a Murs show in the Troubadour that he was opening for, and I was wearing a Patriots hat, and he like pulled me aside, and he was like, "Yo," he was like talking to me after the show because I had the Patriots hat. And I was like, "You're from back home?" I'm like, "Yep."
That's awesome.
That
That's
was the
awesome.
night that I almost met my idol, Shock G. Because I was
Oh,
at the bar by myself and I heard this big, tall dude macking on these two like really hot chicks, and I was like,
right,
"Why does that voice sound familiar?" And I
right.
couldn't figure out till later on Humpty Hump came out. I was like, "That was Humpty," and I'm a huge Digital
Oh,
Underground fan, but it was like that time, like it was like early 2000s, so I wasn't a top of mind at the time. Like I was
right,
like,
right. It happens, man.
"Yeah, I
I've lost a lot of opportunities to do things, but then I've done a lot of things as well too. Like I actually got to see Digital Underground perform in Fairfax once. They did a big like in Flavor Flav. It was like a Fourth of
nice."
July festival, and they cussed and like, it was just so funny because it was like a family.
Oh,
I don't
that's
know why
absolutely
they put
true.
Flavor Flav for a family event in Fairfax. Like, I
I
don't know
know.
why.
I
But
want to
Digital
sh
Underground was there, and that was dope. I got to see. I at least got to see Shock before he passed away.
Shout out to Young Hump. I just did 2 songs with him, Young Hump and
Young
Digital
Hump.
Underground.
Oh,
Yeah.
word.
He's
He's
a
a
cool dude. Yeah, he
Dutch kid.
do you know him at all?
Nah, I'm
Uh,
just learning about this now. I'm today
This is
years
this is
old.
the story of Young Hump. And I'm trying to get him on too because we did a couple of songs I'm really excited about actually.
That's dope.
And he is not Shock G's son, but he is Humpty Hump's son. And
Oh,
so he played in the Tupac movie All Eyes on Me. He played Shock G, and back when Shock was alive, and Shock sort of picked him to do it. And my
oh,
understanding
really?
is that he blessed him with the character to whatever degree,
Wow,
and so now he's
wow,
out there doing it. So I just
that's
did two shows
crazy.
in Texas, and I performed the Humpty Dance at both of them. I had the full costume on, and like I wanted to see if I could bring the crowd totally in one direction, and then I did a very serious spoken word after to see if I could like do it. And I was like, oh man, it all like it worked the way I wanted to. I was so excited.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Sometimes those extremes are drastic enough to keep. I mean, it's
Yeah.
good shock value, man. It keeps people you know paying
Who
attention.
who are the first real hip hop artists that opened your eyes to it being like something you could do or like something that was like I don't know, different or special?
It's a great question.
For me, it was definitely the Beastie Boys. I mean, like
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a culmination of a lot of different artists, to be honest, man. Like, because I learned about a lot of it early on enough to, I felt like to where I feel like I'm a connoisseur of, this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I could take tests and do.
yeah,
I would take the Pepsi challenge. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
so I mean, I love the music, man. I'm a fan, first and foremost. And that's I think that's what we're missing too. There's a lot of artists, and not enough fans. So many
There's
cheese.
still that's a good point, yeah. And there's still a lot of old records that I haven't heard. Like today, I think I heard this record for the first, it's not the first, the second time, Godfather Don Hazardous.
Oh, Godfather Don, dope.
Damn good record. And
It
like
is, man.
it's
He
like
was ahead of his time a little bit, I think, bro.
yeah, the first
So,
sound on this record is the first song is an electric guitar, and there's a bunch of guitar on, it. And he's holding a guitar case on the back. So I'm just
yeah,
jumping to conclusions that he might be playing, but
I
this is
mean,
a damn good
hey,
record.
guitar, man. There's no way you can't say guitar has not influenced every style of music. It's
So
just
yeah.
a staple instrument. I use guitar a lot in my music. So,
Do you remember remember the Judgment Night soundtrack?
oh, it's one of my favorite
Me
soundtracks
too.
of all time.
That was like a big deal at the time where it's like, oh my God, these acts are like working together. And I remember
Oh, it's
Sir
amazing.
Mix-a-Lot, even on the song, is like, I'm just getting rid of my street cred by working with Mudhoney. It's like
Yeah.
like it's like they were it's just so weird. I tried to watch that movie a little while
Yeah.
ago. I only got halfway through it. I watched that second half. I was loving it, but it is not great.
It's not. And there's some of those movies that just don't have that old, like those replay value where you can go back 2 years later and it's like, oh
There were
man.
some kind of chilling moments, but I keep
Nah,
reading.
it
I'm like,
was
oh,
fucked up. Like like those dudes went through some, you
and,
know.
and they got Dennis Leary doing like remember like the time when they just brought in Dennis Leary to be Dennis Leary in every movie. They're like Demolition Man, come over here and be Dennis Leary.
Yeah,
Uh
exactly.
we're gonna have
Yeah,
you date Jean Garofalo and go be Dennis Leary with her. Like, local hero. I mean, from my neck of the woods.
yeah, Leary was interesting
Yes,
character.
you could say that. um, cool, man. So I don't know anything else that you got coming up or you want to promote or
So yeah, I got more singles coming out
yeah,
from the
what do you got?
album.
What's the Chino
Uh,
XL song called? Because that one I
it's
really
called
dug.
it's called the Hashira, and it's Demon Slayer in parentheses. So it's just on some demon slaying lyrically shit, man. Those guys go in their own style. I used I brought in my man DJ Hoppa to do the cuts on. I sent him the vocals that we did the song with Sean Price and Rock Helter Skelter. So I have him using a cut from my Never Ending song, which is it's like a gem, Helter Skelter gem, man. Like I people say I was like it's your best song. It's a great song. The story about that song is crazy. I've told it on some other some other platforms and stuff about it. But like yeah, it was a long night, man, and it was a great experience. And and then there was other experiences where we recorded with Sean, and it was a crazy situation. And ended up working with Ill Bill that way, and recording him in my studio, and
Someday the
um,
Sean Price story has to really be told. Like someone's gonna have to get around to that. Like
oh, you talking around his death?
Oh, just no, around his life too, but just
Oh,
around like he's
oh,
somebody
it's
who
also,
like
oh, for sure,
like
absolutely.
like I was saying
I
the other day,
mean,
it's like you forget how long Dilla's been gone because his memory's been kept alive so well. And like
yeah,
and
yeah.
Sean
There's
Price is like almost at that level, but like he is somebody whose memory will live on, and I kind of hope somebody writes the book or something like a good one or does a documentary or something because more people like I always say Big Al was one album away from being an absolute superstar or potential. I think he had a chance, and it's like unfortunately there
I
just
mean, he could have
wasn't
been as
quite
big as
enough.
Jay Z. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like, there's, there's a lot of things that we can't, we don't know what was really going to happen if those artists would have stayed around.
Yeah,
It's
the
like every
histories of
time,
90s hip hop in New York is fascinating.
oh, it is. No, it's the greatest. It's the greatest era, man. It is. It's that's where I get
And
my
it's
influence
interesting
from.
too that with all the stuff with Diddy, there may be like all the thing with Shine and that whole thing. I forget
Yeah.
what I read, but they were reinvestigating that again. And the
Wow.
more likely that it was Shine's version of the story that it was because Shine always said he wasn't firing the gun. And once again, you look back, and it's like even to say about whether Diddy was involved with killing Tupac, it's like that sounds a lot more believable once you hear that like Diddy was trying to blow up Kid Cudi. It's like
Bro, I've been saying that. I said that when it first happened. I was like, I bet you Diddy's involved. I ain't trying. I'm honest. I remember when that shit happened. I was like, man, something tells me that this dude Diddy's involved. So you know what I mean?
well,
Like,
it's funny, and I don't want to say anything specific here, but like I've been around the hip hop industry for 20 years. I've heard things about Diddy, like and
oh
like
yeah,
nothing very specific, but I've heard a few things from people close enough that made me go, "There's probably smoke. There's probably fire where there's a little bit of smoke." And I'm betting a lot of
I've
money
heard a lot of
on
things about Jay Z too. Personal things that I know about Jay Z because again, he used to travel down here to Maryland and Virginia
it. Yeah,
back in the day before he was a rapper, and I know somebody that was in a relationship with him before he was a rapper, and you know what I mean, and
yeah,
know some things,
yeah.
but who knows?
None of these
Information's
people
out.
planned on being billionaires. Like I mean, they did, but none. It's like
Well,
the world's changed so much.
people are gonna know you before you're,
Yeah,
you may run into people that knew you. But I mean, like I working at the record store, we used to get so many cool, fascinating people come in. I remember a guy used to come in pretty consistently. Him and Henry Rollins grew up together, like right down the street, because he's from Springfield, Virginia.
yep.
So
Love
same
Rollins.
with Dave Grohl. They're from Springfield. Like this area has a lot of talent, man. I mean, Marvin Gaye was from DC. It's just
Bad
a lot,
Brains.
a lot of people from this area. So it's dope. And VA is itself too, man. There's all the producers that are from here: Teddy Riley, Pharrell,
Yeah,
Timbaland.
Clips.
Um,
Oh,
you
that's
know,
North Carolina, isn't it?
you got Bank. You got Sean J. Period. There's just a lot of myself. Pick
Yeah.
myself up. There's a lot of VA talent, man. Period. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to work with some new artists. I'm trying to do some new things. And just stay tuned, man. Keep follow me at Kount Fif. It's KOUNTFIF on all platforms: IG, Twitter, Facebook, wherever. Um, I've got music on the streaming sites, but please support Bandcamp. We'll
Yes.
get our physical records.
They got
I've got an
records like this on
incredible,
Bandcamp.
yeah, and you can get that one right now and my new album and Numero Un for $40.
Yes,
The
it's a
We
great deal.
Must Be Nuts bundle. It's
Yes.
incredible. Three
Yes.
records.
I'm
Man,
a big
some
record collector.
$40
You can't get a better
for
deal than
one.
that.
For one, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a hell of a deal right now. I really want to spread my music out there. I really want people to hear the collection because the one you're holding right in your hand now is basically like a greatest hits.
Yeah.
It's all my big. It's all my greatest hits, man. So it's
Yeah.
like it's all my classic work that I did. Me and my RML did an album called The Swashbuckler. That had an incredible guest list. Some of those songs are from there, from the Killer Priest album. So yeah,
Everybody has some connection to Killer Priest. I was just in Texas
I
with
know.
my rap friends from Alaska, and they're like, "Yeah, we're doing an album with Killer Priest." I'm like, "How many Killer Priests are there?" Like everybody.
Yeah, he's a writing machine. I mean, we sat in the studio for 2 weeks, and he was just, let's go, ready to record. Anytime I woke up, right, he barely slept. He would sleep like a few hours, and he'd be up. I would come out, he'd be on the phone with like Jizza or some shit. You know what I mean? Like it was wild, man. Like it was like living with him for shacked up in my studio, my basement studio for a while. That was an interesting time, man.
Yeah.
Interesting time.
I can't, yeah, it must be surreal.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of shit that I've experienced. I think, man, dealing with this hip hop shit is pretty surreal. Like meeting a lot of my legends, doing things that are pretty epic, and touring, and just being in places where there's a lot of power. Hanging out with Nas and Damian Marley and Rakim and
Yeah.
DJ Red Alert, and just all like DJ Cool Herc, and just I always have ventured out. I've always been the one, the face, to go out and do things and be involved. And no matter where, Baltimore, my second home, it's a close city to us, so we used to do a lot of shows out there. I played in a band for a little while. So, I used to spread my wings, man, and I like I said, I'm versatile. I love all music, from country to heavy metal to rock to jazz to progressive to whatever, hip hop, soul, R&B, funk, all of it, man. I've learned to, hip hop's, the sampling is especially like learning, like just digging for records and finding samples that you knew. Like my old record collection, I had every sample that was ever used, probably. Like like every popular sample you can think of. I was like, oh yeah, I got that on vinyl.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we all have a flood. All famous producers have a flood, and I had a flood issue once.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God. Yes.
I almost lost my studio. I luckily saved it and came home just in time. And
Mine was gonna be a tree issue because I had giant. I'm in my studio now in my records, and I had a giant couple trees around here that I watched the storm go like this. I'm like, that's gonna come right through.
Oh yeah,
But I
yeah.
got
I got
rid of them all.
a tree out my window now too. It's like, man, if that something was to ever nick that tree, that shit's collapsing on the whole house.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah. Trees are fun. So, all right,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Well, I appreciate
Yeah.
your time on this, and I definitely check out the record. Actually, one more question. What's a
Sure.
record you're listening to now that that you might recommend to people?
Oh man.
Not to put you on the spot.
That's a good question.
I'll give you a minute to think of it while I plug this one that I really like. Oh, someone wants to talk to you. Maze the Sounds by Janko Nilovich and the Soul Surfers. Highly recommend this. And the new
Okay.
Yaya Bay record. Definitely awesome.
Okay. Um, um, there is there's a new artist out there. It's called Places. It's really dope, man. It's spelled weird. It's like PLA3C3S. So like the E's are replaced with threes. Like it's some different stuff, man. And then there's like I listen to a lot of Drink Champs podcasts, so I really be listening to that a lot. I go back to the vault, man. Listen to a lot of old stuff a lot, And
there's a Young Hump Digital Underground episode of Drink Champs. Check that out.
Oh, is there really?
Yeah, him and Money B are on there.
Oh, that's dope. Oh, that's dope. Hell yeah, hell yeah. I might have heard that actually. Oh shit, maybe not. I don't know. But
they drop a lot of those.
So. I want to check out Brother Ali's new record, but I haven't really been impressed with the singles that I've heard so far with the producer. I guess he's working with. I'm just not, not that impressed with it.
Yeah.
And I just
I'm still listening to Champion.
Yeah. I mean, I'm interested to hear this new Rakim record come out.
I don't know about that.
It's he's fully producing the whole thing too as well. So and he's produced a lot of his own hits.
He did a lot of the Eric B and Rakim stuff. It was really him.
People don't realize that he's a producer as well. They don't credit him as that. They just credit him as like the guy that changed lyrics for hip hop. But like, nah, I mean, he so it's got 25 features. It's an EP.
I'm not sure how that math works, but
BG, a lot of Dark Mans, 38 Special.
Wow. Wow, the Dark Man.
Interesting.
I was playing his
Yeah.
record the other day. I just got
Yeah.
that recently. Yeah. Still a
Yeah.
good record.
Oh, the Heist of the Century is a classic. That
Yeah.
album was dope, man. I remember when it first came out because we had this. When I bought Supreme Clientele from the record store, uh, it came with a VHS tape, and it was like show footage and like bonus footage and shit. Like they just gave it to you. It was like a first
Yeah. I remember those
first
days.
amount of people that bought it, got it. And we were like there, right when the store opened, and got it and shit. And I used to take L rides up, get the CD. That's what I miss. I miss going to the stores and buying the music
Yeah.
too.
I was
Man,
waiting outside Tower Records at midnight for Marshall Mathers LP in like
yeah.
early 2000,
You just sit in your car, you put it in, and you sit in your car and read the liner notes. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
It'd
Like,
be frustrating trying to get like the six. They always put a new level of security on CDs. It was like now they
oh
got the thing at
yeah,
the top, and then that you're trying not to break it when you open it.
yeah,
Yeah,
as a bitch.
yeah,
But
the
yeah,
good old
man.
days.
So
All
yeah, it
right,
was
man, it's
really
been a
cool.
pleasure. Yeah,
I
man, check
appreciate
out all your
it.
stuff. And I got 2 songs. I think they're gonna be on another. I'm doing a solo record. I got a
Well,
couple more coming up. I think I'm gonna do a solo record of all different producers, and so I'm gonna put that on
well,
that. So
yeah, man. Well, let me know when it drops. Let me know how I can help promote. You know
we'll
what I
do,
mean?
man. Appreciate it.